What's up, Blurry gang? I'm back with another tutorial. Today we're going to be using both Andis and Wahl clippers to do a mid-skin taper with hooks, and we're going to grow out his top for a curly afro blowout look. Before I start his haircut, I'm just going to comb his hair out and prep it to be cut. Then we're going to go ahead and take my Wahl balding clippers and put it in my first guide. For my second guide, I'm going to use my Magic Clip cordless lever open. And then we're going to go ahead and take that line out with lever play, open, middle, close. And what you got to do, just don't pass that guide. After we deal with that line, we're going to go ahead and put our 1.5 guard on. I'm going to go with the grain first to lay the hairs down. And then I'm going to go against the grain with the motions, open, middle, close. Alright, before I do any more fading, I'm just going to whip my hitters out and establish my hook. That way, I keep the hook dark throughout my blending. Then I'm going to take out my Andis Masters and I'm going to do some lever play. I'm going to start open and I'm going to slowly close the lever until that line starts to fade out. Always make sure when you're blending to use the corner of your clipper, just the corner of the blade. That way we're not making any new guidelines and we're just strictly blending. After we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and finish up our fade with the 0 guard. I'm just going to play with the lever here until all the dark spots are faded out. Moving on to the other side, we're going to establish our first guideline with the Wahl balding clipper. Here I'm just going to take my hitters out and establish my hook right away. I'm going to go straight to my 1.5 guard and go with the grain, set the hairs down, and then go against with the motions, open, middle, close. If you've noticed, I've switched up the order of my steps a little bit. I'm going to put in my base with the 1.5 guard before I do the open lever and then the lever play. This is just to show you that once you understand the fundamentals of hair and why you're doing certain steps, you could definitely mix up the order and come out with the same product. So after we finish taking out that guideline we set with the open lever magic clip, I'm just going to pick up my Andis Masters and do some lever play starting from open. Now I slap my 0 guard on and we're just going to finish up that fade. I like to start from open lever and same thing, move my way down, fade my way down till that line is gone. Moving on to the neck taper, we got our Wahl baldings out and we're just going to set that first guideline right below his earlobes. I've got my magic clip open and we're going to set that second guide. When we set guidelines, contrary to blending, I'm using the full flush blade. This way it's a lot easier to create the line and make it visible. Just like we did before, we're just going to use our lever play, open, middle, close, do whatever it takes to take that line out without passing the second guide. Now I got my 1.5 on, and we're going with the grain to lay the hairs down, and then against just to blend into it. From there, I'm going to take my Andis Master, I'm going to open up the lever, and just start to fade that line out and fade down, slowly closing the lever. After that, I'm going to take my zero guard, and I'm going to open up the lever, work that line out with some lever play. And what that's going to do is it's going to blend right into the 1.5 with the grain. After I finish putting all my blends in, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my hitters and put that lineup in. I like to start around the ears. This gives me a good sense of direction of where to put my neckline up. And you'll see, if you do a good job on the lineup, it'll really complement your fade and bring everything to life. Moving on to my client's front hairline. When I start any front hairline up, I like to be eye level with my client. That way I know that the perspective I'm seeing his hair from is the correct perspective that I should be before I cut any hair off. When you do any lineup, obviously make it as sharp as possible, but as natural as possible. A client would rather have a soft lineup than push back hairline. At least I would, personally. So as you can see, I start from the middle and I just work my way to each side. This usually gives me the most symmetrical hairline. Generally, when you start a lineup and you're evaluating and trying to envision the lineup, you just want to look for the highest point in the hairline and use that as your starting point, because there's no hair there and there's no point in putting a line in and having a blank, just a blank spot in a lineup. Like, what, fam? Like, after we're done with the hitters, we're just gonna go ahead and take our straight blade and go over all the work we just did with the hitters. This is gonna make all the lines pop. It's gonna make the fade pop, everything defined, crispy. It's the finishing touch to the haircut, basically. If you watched my videos before, you already know. Stretch the skin and go against the grain or across the grain. This will give you the closest shave. When I line up the right side of the neck, you'll see that I changed the positioning of my blade to go in between my index and my thumb. This allows me to get into tighter spaces with my blade. Now I'm just going to apply some curl enhancing lotion. What this is going to do is, curly hair tends to get really dry and frizzy. This gives it that moisture so it can maintain its curl. To finish off the cut, I'm just going to use a neck strip to pad down any loose ends, and he'll be good to go. So there you have it, mid-skin taper with hooks, growing out the top for a blowout look, and we used both Andis and Wahl clippers. Shoutouts to Andis, shoutouts to Wahl. Blurry out.